Kristen White, and I'm a doctor, I'm a psychologist. I just wanted to let you know some of my qualifications. I am an MD in mental health. I have an MA in psychology, a BS in counseling and psychology, an MD in pharmaceutical, and MA in telepathy and psychology. I also have another MA in telepathy and psychology, so from 2 different schools. I also have a PhD and BA in law enforcement. Now, I went undercover kind of thing myself and personally investigated some serious issues in psychology, counseling, mental health. I'm just going to mention some things I noticed, I observed. I noticed there were misdiagnoses. I noticed the wrong meds were being administered to people by people who have no authority to administer medications. And sometimes the patients would catch these people and say, this is not my medication, this is not the medication I was prescribed, and they would get bullied and harassed by those particular people that were administering the medications. I noticed that names were mistaken for another name that was similar. So I also noticed the psychologists, some of the counselors, were not actually listening to the patients. They would literally just have a bad report of them by an abusive person and play along with that abusive person's report of those people. And that really pissed me off, honestly, as a professional myself. So in addition to that, I noticed some of these so-called psychologists, counselor people, who are not so qualified to be in the position that they are in. I noticed them administering drugs to patients who needed some counseling. That was their answer to the counsel. So they would hear an abusive report by the person who sent them in there to have some counseling or psychology. See what I'm saying? The person that gave an evil report of those people were actually emotional abusers, physical abusers, and they threatened these people and bullied them into counseling and psychology. So by the time they got into a session, they were worried, crying, weeping, wondering what was going to happen, and they might have gotten a bad psychologist or counselor who tried to administer drugs as the answer and misdiagnosed them. So this really upset me when I was investigating this. And I have literally called these people out on that. I saw their reaction, and I'm just, warning people to be more aware of the person who's calling and reporting these matters against another, because they might be the ones that need some counseling and psychology help. And I'm just appalled by the psychologists and counselors who would not listen to the patient and hear their side of the story. They just went by an evil report they heard and said, this is your diagnosis, this is what this person said you did, and this is the medication you're going to be taking. And what I also observed is they would use that medication to control their minds. So these people would walk around like zombies. I mean, I had an acquaintance person talk to me and confide in me, and she's like, I talked to you and I felt better about myself, but when you prayed and stuff, I noticed right away. Someone called me from the psychologist she was seeing, and she said, they just told me they found out they misdiagnosed the person I prayed for. And I'm like, thank God that was clarified. But you see, they misdiagnosed. So this person was suffering for several years thinking she had a horrible problem, and come to find out this was a minute problem. And they over-medicated her with the wrong medication, and she did not need medication. So I'm just saying that as an example, a case study I did on my own research. So as far as that's concerned, those are some warnings. I'm just letting people know, don't always go by what others hear.